So it's another dashboard confessional. That's what this feels like to me, because I'm still new at it. You know, I really don't generally care what I look like on videos, because it is what it is. Cameras don't always capture our best side anyway. But when I do videos in the car like this, because it's a peaceful moment, and I can do that, I hate the fact that the camera kind of angles where it catches all this stuff. Do you have parts of you which, when you look at them, you see the woman who came before you in your family? Now, I am the first in the line of my mother's side of the family who was big. Everybody else was tiny, petite, narrow-boned, delicate-boned, as they say, small-breasted, and then along comes me. But even that part of me, I celebrate because it comes from my father's side of the family, and I was very close to my paternal grandmother. In fact, I kind of looked just like her, although she didn't get the opportunity to live this long. But anyway, I get in the car and just prop the camera wherever, which means it's lower than me, looking up at me, and it catches this. Which, this thing here, the women in my mother's family, none of whom have ever had any extra weight on them. They were tiny even in their pregnancies. They all get this. So you add my weight to it and it's even more pronounced, this thing. Not my favorite part of myself. It's probably the only part of myself that I would wish away if I could. The rest of me I'm fine with. And also this is from my mother's side of the family. And in fact, I see my mother when I look in the mirror, in great part because this is her, and this is her, and this is her. Okay, so she doesn't have this. She doesn't have jowls like her chubby daughter does. But I see myself in some of these videos I never edit because there's nothing to edit out, and they're casual videos, and I'm not going to change anything. But if, say, I got interrupted with a barking dog, or somebody comes to the door, or if I were here and somebody walked up, I will edit out, and then I see myself. And the dashboard confessional videos are hard for me to edit. I always hope I don't have to, because the only part of my body that I would happily do something about if I could is very obvious in these videos. And then someone mentioned if I'm sitting back here a bit, it looks like I'm wearing a beret because of the headrest and the back seat to my car. You know, I love seeing hats on other people. But every time I put a hat on my head, I felt stupid. So I've never put a hat on my own head. I don't know why that is, especially when I like it when I see it on other people. So there's some yatterings for the day. I met a friend from church for lunch today. Delightful woman. Somebody else I'm privileged to get the opportunity to get to know. Because she has been... Talk about the matriarchy and the maternal side of our families. She has been the mama for our church in many ways. She has been there since day one and helped everything from buying the land to being on every committee, and she's been doing it for a long time now. She'd like some quiet time with her partner at this time in her life, so she's looking for volunteers to take over a lot of things on committees she's part of. Plus, a lot of the committees at church are looking for people to step up and help out. There's a lot of hard work that goes into setting up a new church, and the folks who do it can feel burnout after a while, and it's time for others to chip in and help. And there's a couple committees, a couple of things that I volunteered to help with. I'm looking this way because, you know, the black vultures that I showed you a while back? This is the same shopping center. I happen to be out front. They're all sitting in a tree over here. It's really something to see a bird that big just hanging out in the tree, just sitting there. They never squabble with each other. They're really fascinating birds. Roger saw something on AOL this morning about a pit bull puppy that was supposedly rescued from black vultures. And it showed this poor puppy who had indeed been mistreated. He was chained to a tree, and he had like one of those plastic dog crates he could go into, and he was in it, and it was surrounded by these black vultures. And it made a big deal out of the fact they had to rescue the dog from the vultures. And Roger said this is weird, because unless the poor dog was dead, the vultures wouldn't have been bothering it. And then one of the rescuers actually was quoted as saying, well, the vultures didn't seem to mind we were there. Well, of course not. They're black vultures. They don't mind. But it made these poor birds out to be terrible, terrible birds. Dang, we all get reputations, whether we deserve them or not. But these guys really look kind of neat just hanging out in this tree. Anyway, they must be the ones from the dumpster that's probably at the other end of this very same shopping center I'm sitting in. So anyway, I knew that if I was going to join my church, I was going to want to get involved in some activities and some committees, because they can't get my money at this point in my life because there is none. But they can get some of my time, and I would be quite honored to make a donation of that. So I met to talk with her because of her stewardship at committees to see where they needed help and where I might be able to contribute. In part because some of the things I did at the last church I belonged to, and then in part because there's some new things I want to try. So it was actually a very delightful lunch with her. Really enjoyed it. And I'm going to get some gas. I've had this car for a year now, and it's only the 6th tank of gas I bought. That tells you how quiet my life has been. Although, in the last couple of months, I've filled it up twice. Yeah. Aren't I the social butterfly nowadays? But I bought it because it is so good on mileage. Well, and because I could afford it. And it's a nice little car, but I'm actually getting gas. It's like, I'm laughing, thinking, I've had the car for a year. I think there's 1,200 miles on it. And I'm only on my 6th, maybe my 5th, even less tank of gas. And I went to the grocery store, so I got to put stuff away when I get home. I haven't decided if I'm making dinner yet or not. Roger's birthday's coming up shortly, so a lot of the places we go in the summer, in the off season, not in the summertime. In the off season, they send you free meals for your birthday. So we may go out because, you know, for $10 we can get dinner for 2 of us. I don't know. We'll see. I'm done with the bugs. I feel like going out and about, but tonight is also Tuesday nights. I get together with the ladies in our neighborhood, which, if you're starting to know my routine, you know, if it's Tuesdays, it's the night I hang out with the girls with a glass of wine or 2 or 3. So that's what tonight is. The cold snap is gone, and it is, I don't know, it's in the 40s at least. I took my jacket off because once it gets in the upper 40s, I don't need a coat. I can't stand wearing coats. Ugh, I don't like the bound-in feeling of wearing a coat. So I took it off. But this morning, whoa, the rain was coming down sideways. Talk about wind. That would have been something if it had been part of the snowstorm we got, but that's all melted now. And it feels more like spring. The ground's been so frozen now for the last couple of weeks because we've had sub-freezing temperatures for a couple of weeks that you didn't really smell anything outside. And I noticed when I took the dogs out this morning that things have thawed out, and because of the rain they've thawed out pretty quickly. And you can smell the earth and you can smell the leaves. And it just smells like, I don't know, richness. You know that smell, that fertile smell. That, the kind of like collection of the winter's decay, kind of earthy smell. Oh, that was so welcome. I was done with that cold. Yeah, I know as I say that some of you are still dealing with it and will continue to deal with it for a while. And we might too. You know how Facebook sends you the pictures of a year ago? Well, Roger got one this morning that we put up a year ago, and the bay was completely frozen over. I mentioned yesterday about sometimes the bay, it's rare, very rare, the bay freezes over, and last year literally you could have walked to the ocean just by walking on the bay over to the sand dunes. And last year this time we were like 2 weeks into the bay being completely frozen over, and Roger had a picture of it that, you know, was his Facebook memories. So yeah, it can still come back to get us. Not for the next week though. It's supposed to be upper 50s, almost 60, and somewhere in the next couple of days. I don't know if it's going to rain or not. But the rain today is the kind of rain, you know the difference between winter rain and spring rain? But it's the kind of rain that you can just put your face up into it and it feels wonderful coming down over to you, not like little icy pellets like jabbing you. Even the rain today's welcome. I would like to have some sunshine though, I admit. I'm ready for, much as I love my gray days, I'm ready for some sunshine. Yeah, and I'm ready for some leaves on the trees, and I'm ready for flowers, and I'm ready for, you know, I'm ready for spring. So what? It's going to come here when it comes here. So I'm going over to get some gas, and then I'm headed home. We'll probably, more than likely, we'll go out. and then the evening with the ladies. So the only thing actually productive I would have gotten done today is, and it wasn't real grocery shopping, it was, to pick up the stuff you need in between kind of grocery shopping. Roger was desperate enough this morning that he ate oatmeal. Poor guy. That's what I eat in the morning. In fact, I should probably do a video of making that, because I do steel cut oats in the crock pot, and I do love my oatmeal and my walnuts in the morning. And he eats some other things. He likes those breakfast sandwiches, those ones you buy that are frozen, that you heat up. But he used to eat sugared cereals, so I'm not going to complain about that. Remember, I'm the kitchen witch that has recreated my husband's world since we got married, and he had a prognosis of early death because of his COPD. And I'm the witch with the whip in the kitchen, controlling what we eat. And sugared cereals was one of the things that I took away from him. Poor guy. Yeah, but he's so much happier because he's so much healthier. When we were dating, he wasn't supposed to live for more than a couple of years. And in a couple of months, we're going to have our 11th wedding anniversary. So, yeah. As he says, sometimes it can be a really good thing, married to a witch. He knows that I've impacted his life when it comes to the food that he eats, to his activity level, because I've made him be as active as his lungs would permit him to be any given day. That varies day to day, but the witch with the whip, when it comes to exercise for him, has gotten him up and moving as much as he can every day, and he has greatly increased his ability. He's actually come off of oxygen in the time we've been together, which was supposedly not possible. So, I just did a video last night, or the night before. I think I edited it last night, that I'm going to put up on banishing, hexing, and cursing. And it came out of a discussion I'm in on, I think it's, other than the Greystone Path, it's the only online group I'm part of nowadays. And I thought, interesting topic. I think I'd like to do a video. I may have done one in the past, but when you've been on YouTube a long time, you do videos from the past. When somebody has a topic, you could say, oh, I'll go back and dig up one of these old videos. Or you could do a new one, because you know what? Are you really going to say the same thing you said before? Does nothing ever change in your outlook or something? So I guess I'm thinking about our ability to manifest change in the universe, because I have that video and my reflections on it that I recorded. I'll probably upload it probably the same time I upload this tonight. And I think of what's happened in the time that Roger and I have been together, and that has a lot to do with the things I've changed in his diet and his day, his activity level. And also, our agreement was, I don't do overt workings on my beloved. He would be uncomfortable. It feels too New Agey to him. As he put it one day, it feels too Age of Aquarius to him. Well, I can respect that. If you're not used to working with the body's energies, and it feels a little foo-foo to you. So I have his full approval to do whatever I want to do, as long as, in a way, I don't involve him. And I kind of work behind the scenes. And of course, that has a lot to do with energy work. It has a lot to do with body work, the intimate time we spend together, to be truthful. And it has to do with getting him up and moving, and basically loving everything about his body that is working or not working, and blending my energy with his. If you work doing body work, you know what that's like. And the reason that feels aligned to the video I just did on banishing, hexing, and cursing is, I said in that video that if you declare that you are a witch, it seems to me that the one thing we should have in common, and if we don't, that I would probably say, at least my definition of witch is very different than yours, is that we know we can effect change in the world. Oh, not because we want something, it always happens and changes, and we're not miracle workers. We don't always know why things don't happen when we do a working or a casting. But we have a very firm belief that we have the ability to make things happen and to change things. And those things can be nurturing, and compassionate and healing. They can be creative, but they can also be the creation that happens through acts of destruction or chaos. And to me, those things are equally as important. They rise from the place of love and compassion, which is the point I hope I made in that video. I got a little rambly. That doesn't surprise you, does it? And the thing about it is, we choose what we do. We choose the impact we make on the world. But we need to be aware of where those actions rise from. And the impact I have made on Roger's health, and even on my own health, because I'm supposed to be a lot worse off with the lupus than I am, have to do with working from a place of sometimes tearing things apart and rearranging them. So the act of recreation is as important a part of who we are as witches. Back to what I referenced about, if we say we're witches, the one thing that I think we, from my perspective, maybe not yours, the one thing I would assume we have in common is understanding the power of what we can create and the influence we have over the energy and the physical world around us. Now, I'm not saying that I would assume that everyone I meet does things the same way I do, or even does the same things that I do. We're all at a different place in our learning and our experience and our kind of the power of our conviction to take action and get things done. But that sense of union with the universe to manifest change, to me, is probably the one thing I would assume all witches have in common, that they're either exploring it or actively working it. Of course, you may not agree. So that rambling has to do with health and changes and thinking about the video I did last night, that we sometimes make changes out of deconstruction as much as we do the gentle building of something. Dashboard confessionals, wagging my double chin at you. That's what happens. Sometimes it's the only quiet time in the day, isn't it? Because I know when I get home, Roger and I have some things we need to do, and maybe some errands we're going to do, I don't know. It'll be busy. The TV will be on. I didn't turn the heat on in the porch when I left today, because I know I'd be gone for a good part of the day, just to save some money on heating. So the car is my quiet place for the day. I'm looking forward to time with the ladies tonight. The only thing is, they get together too early for me. 6 o'clock at night is early by my standards when it comes to getting together with others to socialize. I usually am making dinner about that time. Yeah, so it's quite different for me to be making dinner at 4 or 4:30 in the afternoon. That's why going out for a quick bite seems appealing to me tonight. So I feel good about not only having volunteered for a couple things at church, but to have made another new friend at church. I got the dang grocery store run done. The damp cold weather has kind of done my knees and my hips in, and I wasn't looking forward to it, but it made out just fine. And I've been postponing getting gas. I have to keep reminding myself I don't live where I used to, which is every place you go, there is a gas station on every corner. That's what I'm used to, having grown up in suburbia. Here, if you run out of gas, there's no place near to get your gas. You have to plan for your gas. And any of you who live in a rural area know this very, very well. I still haven't gotten it. Been here 3 years and I still remember, oh, you can't let your gas tank get below a quarter because you might not be within a quarter of a tank of a gas station. I'm making some progress. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to end, and this may be it for the day. Oh, there'll be a tiny moment, I'm sure. I'm going to end with, I love these birds in this tree, and I want to share that with you. And that would be it for the day, I think. It's a good day. The rain has just started coming down pretty heavy, and it's always fun when I come around this corner to see if our friend is in the neighborhood, because this is his territory. And sure enough, he's hanging out down here in the rain. taking cover, I guess. He's all hunched over, hunched low. We probably would miss him, except now we know that this is his territory. This is one of my favorite places, so I thought I would share it with you today for my tiny moment. When you keep driving past our house, we end up out on a peninsula that's protected land. These are old growth cypress swamps. And, oh, I love this place. It's right on a road. The road's over here. So even on a day I'm not walking too good, I can walk here. So I think I'm going to make this be my tiny moment by the bay. Actually, it's my tiny moment by Herring Creek. That's what this area is. Short walk from our house.